two-time defending Olympic champion taking on undefeated Russia. And look at this, Russia comes from 2 sets down to knock off the Cubans, identical 14-16 counts, and then Russia goes on a big tear, 15-12 in the 5th. Japan, they struggled against the USA, 15-12. They had to rally in the 5th and deciding set. Those are the first sets that the USA have put on the board here in the 97 edition of the World Volleyball Grand Prix. So the Gifu pool standings look like this thus far. Russia and Japan both with a win apiece. They will square off today. Then later on this afternoon, the USA taking on Cuba. Cuba only needing 1 win to qualify for the finals in Kobe. Here are the rankings thus far. You see the 4 teams with a half point: Korea, China, Italy, and the Netherlands. They were part of that Jakarta pool that was canceled. The FIVB multiplying their point totals by 1.5. Korea is already into the finals in Kobe. Russia would have to be disqualified here in Gifu for them to miss out on Kobe. Cuba, with only 1 win, would get into the finals and take out China with 13.5 points thus far. So when we return to Gifu, Japan, Russia against the host nation, Japan. That's up next. More from the World Volleyball Grand Prix after this. Japan, where we are almost ready to start. Russia against Japan here. The last pool before the finals in Kobe. This is the Gifu pool. We're looking at this Russian lineup. Hello, everyone. I'm Sean Farquhar along with Chuck Schreiner. And Chuck, this is an awesome, powerful Russian lineup. There's Artemanova, the big outside hitter for Russia.
Yeah, along with Godina, Artemanova are the best 2 probably blockers and spikers in this tournament. If you discount some of the Cuban girls, you might have an argument there. But they have just a whole host of players that they can throw at you. They can throw Kachina at you. They can throw Gacheva at you. So they're loaded.
And there is Nikolai Karpal, the volatile Serbic coach of the Russian squad. I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot from him today. Sitting beside him, Valentina Ogienko. She was a player on the 1996 squad for Russia. And here is the Japanese team. Naomi Eto, they'll swing her in. Onuki, she has got some power. Japan, they have some deceptively good hitters.
They do have deceptively good hitters. Of course, they're going to hurt a little bit without the presence of Tajima in there to sort of lead the attack. But number 12, especially Agaki, fantastic hitter. She can swing from left to right. Also Sasaki, number 13, there, 1.82 centimeters or meters tall. So they do have some good hitters. They got some good blockers. Pretty well-balanced team.
Nobuchika Kazuya is the Japanese coach. You mentioned Asako Tajimi a moment ago. She is the Japanese captain. She was injured in the Hong Kong pool that was played earlier this month. Her right leg injured, so she is not in the starting lineup today. 2 teams that have already qualified, really, for the finals in Kobe. As we mentioned a moment ago, Russia would have to be disqualified from their matches here in Kobe, and the chances of that are very, very slim. Thomas Blue is the referee today. Dean Winter assisting him. Gracheva is the setter, and that's Artemanova. Oh, Japanese blocking. Going to work right away. They anticipate the shot from Artemanova.
They're going to key on Artemanova, especially with Godina out of the lineup. So on that right side, whenever she goes up, look to have 2 or 3 blockers there.
So they go right back the other way. Menchova, she's over on that left side. She's the one that is sitting in today for Godina. Gracheva is serving. Watch for her on the setting today. She really runs the offense. Very deceptive setter. Just waits for the very last moment before tipping her hand.
And you have to like these Russian servers. They put a lot of top spin on the ball. They're able to get it pretty deep. They don't fault that much already early on, giving Japan some problems.
This will be Artemanova, and with the spike not there, she goes to the touch shot. So 2 quick points for the Russian team.
Well, Japan doing the same thing that Korea did in a previous match. They're having 3 people to net, and then they lay back and have 3 in behind. That leaves the middle open. Sometimes the Russians can dink over there and exploit that. They can see.
Once again, Gracheva for Artemanova, and that is a boomer for the kill. Godina, number 6 today, sitting on the bench. That's interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just a rester or if there's a slight injury there. Of course, both these teams, as you said earlier, Sean, are assured of a place almost in the final. So it may just be a ploy to rest her.
Japan is into the final by virtue of being the host nation in Kobe. Russia coming into today's match with a record of 6-0. Menchova couldn't quite bust through, and then we get the net violation. They call that on Naomi Ato.
Yeah, net and also a double hit there, too. Only allowed to strike your body one time.
So Tachenko on the serve. She goes down the right side. And the touch shot, just not enough touch on it.
Well, the Japanese early on trying to establish some sort of a finesse game, a dinking game, trying to get it in between those blockers. Remember, the Russian blockers will stay very tight to the net.
4 women inside the attack line for Japan. And Russia committing themselves too early on the block. And number 12, Ikumi Ogake, makes them pay. She goes to the dink shot. Side out, Japan down 0-4. So Russia will get it right back.
Well, Japan will try and have their service game focused on that back court there to try and keep the Russians at bay, try and keep them pinned back in the back court. Korea tried that, but was not very successful.
From well behind the attack line, it's Ogake again, and that will be the 5th point. So Russia on top 5-0 here, and they are cruising early. So we'll take the timeout and return to Gifu, Japan. More from the WVGP in a moment. Here 5-0 in the early going. The Japanese defense yet to settle down. Russia, they're coming off a big emotional win over their arch rivals, the Cubans. That was in 5 sets.
I think that might have an effect on Russia early on, although it doesn't seem to. They don't seem to have the fire in their eyes like they did against Korea. But then again, Japan coming off of a very disappointing effort against the United States. So we might be seeing 2 teams that are biding their time for the finals.
Pushed over for Ogake. Japan keeps that alive. Free ball for the Russians. The quick set. We've seen a lot of these European teams starting to use the quick set and spike against their Asian counterparts.
And originally that was a tactic used by Asians almost exclusively, but now the Russians picking up on it, and the Cubans too with somewhat less success. Artemanova can hit it from anywhere though. Long set, short set, very complete player.
Omura comes in for Naomi Ato, who'll take a seat on the bench. So Kazuha already going to the substitution. And there is a poor reception of serve. So Russia cruising now 7-zip. Look at this.
There you go. That's that top spin that we were talking about earlier on from the Russian servers. Tying up number 6 for Japan, Egoshi.
Pushing it back the other way for Artemanova. I think Japan was looking for the reverse set.
They were looking for the reverse set, and remember, Artemanova will just camp herself on that left side, and occasionally the right-hand side, too, but she prefers the left. She loves to hit cross-court into space.
Nobuchika Kazuha calls timeout, with Russia reeling off 8 points in a row now, and Japan has really been caught back on their heels.
Well, they have been. A very exhausting match less than 24 hours ago against the United States of America, which they did prevail in the end.
But it took them 5 sets, and they really struggled, and that really has to count as the best effort for the USA thus far in the Grand Prix.
Well, it's certainly the first time that they've ever taken any sets in this tournament, and yeah, Nick Haley has to be pleasantly surprised with that effort. As you know, he came here with a team that's very young and inexperienced, and he was just hoping to capitalize on that inexperience, but in the meantime, taking a couple sets from a pretty tough team in Japan.
Menchova on the serve. Japan diving to get that, and they get the side out. Russia, I don't think they were expecting the ball to come back so quickly.
Yeah, they were just sort of frozen at that front line as that space over in the left-hand corner was exploited. None of the back row girls got over there either.
How about this? Asako Tajimi, right injured leg and all, back into the lineup. And I'm sure the fact that Japan is in a big hole here early on has something to do with that.
Well, they need her leadership abilities out there, and they need her exuberance, and they also need her spiking, too.
And the poor serves prevent Japan from generating any momentum. There's another point for the Russians. Artemanova swatting it away.
Like a tower there at the middle of that net that time, scooting over from her left position.
Osaki over on the left side, gets it through. That's probably the first successful spike Japan has had today.
Well, they need Sasaki to step up with that, especially with that injury to Tajima. Although she's back in the game, I don't think she's 100%. So anything they can get from Sasaki will be appreciated.
Once again, over on the left, Japan goes back, but Russia there to counter. But good blocking, and Morozova will serve to try and get it to the automatic timeout at 10 points. Pushing it back. I'm not sure a Russian got the hand on it. No, says Thomas Blue. So Russia steamrolling Japan here in the first set. 10-0 they lead it. And Nobuchika Kazuya must be very disappointed with the effort from his Japanese charges thus far on their home court in Gifu. Back to Gifu, Japan in a moment. On Russia on top of Japan, 10-0. And Japan has not been able to get any momentum, and they have not launched really any offensive attack against the Russians, Chuck Schreiner.
Not at all. All Agaki's been able to do is hit the ball long and high. She's trying to go over the top of the blockers, which I don't think is a very good idea. We're going to have to see more cross-court hitting from the Japanese, I think, for them to become effective.
And Russia is resting probably their best spiker, Elena Godina. Sasaki not able to push through on the spike, and Russia just have that net blanketed now.
They do, and they play the net very, very tight, and Korea tried to get them off the net the other night, as we saw, but were unsuccessful at it. They're going to have to figure out some way to loosen up this all-blanketing net play by Russia.
Kuname in for Ogake. Nobuchika Kazuya, the Japanese coach, still trying to find the right lineup here.
Well, he'll shuttle girls in and out, trying to find the right combination.
Oh, a straight up and down shot, number 9, Tachenko. And really, Chuck, it's not too often we see her go up for a spike.
Well, so we see her sky up there. She came over from the middle position, took that little set, did damage with it.
Pushing it over to the left side again, and now Japan breaks through. Kuname off the bench.
Yeah, Chitako Kunami that time sauntered over from middle position to the left, able to hit slightly cross court, surprising the blockers.
That goes off the head of a Japanese blocker. They push it over. Kuname again, pushing it up, the dump shot. Japan quickly recovers from behind the attack line, not able to knock it down. Sasaki, and she'd been very good for Japan in their opening pool.
Yeah. Japan that time had 5 girls positioned near the net, only keeping 1 retriever back, figuring they've got to put more pressure on Russia if they're going to make an impact.
Kuname not able really to get upstairs for that ball. But skying is Artemanova, and she misses wide.
And shaking her head, she came from back court. It was a miss hit basically for her. Wrong angle probably. She had an opening there to the right. She elected to go the other way.
Bump set for Menchova, and she finds her mark into the middle with the kill.
Well, if they can get Menchova to do the same things on the left that Godina was doing, they're going to be awesome. We've yet to see much of Batutina, who usually controls that center.
Over for Sasaki, missing long, and I'm not sure the Russian got the hand on it. Sasaki seems to think so.
I think I saw the referee point. Here we go. We'll get a chance to see it again. Looked like it went straight through the 2 blockers.
But no, they are giving it to the Japanese, who then hand it right back to Russia. And that really is a rally killer for the Japanese as they struggle to just stay competitive here in set 1.
It certainly is. You work so hard to get a point or a side out, and then you give it right back with a service error.
This is a free ball now for the Russians. Over for Artemanova, who's forced to go into the net. A poor set that time from Gracheva.
Yeah, she was already up when the set got there, late with the set, and then when it was below the net, so she had to sort of underhand it. Momentum carries her into the net.
Omura goes for the spike serve. No one there to take the spike on the left for Japan. Booming shot. This will go back Russia's way. They load up again. The quick set. And Japan did not get up in time. Really, they didn't even leave the floor to block that ball.
You know, these quick sets are bothering the Japanese girls early. I think that was number 2, Morozova that time. There's really not a girl in this lineup who can hit for Russia.
So we have stalled a little here at 11-0. Back to Tina, missing on the spike serve. Over it goes for Artemanova. And that goes into the stands. So back it goes Russia's way. Artemanova, probably the best player on this Russian squad for playing side-out volleyball.
Yeah, and that's so important if you can play side-out volleyball. In other words, you keep fighting, you keep getting the serve back, and eventually you make some points come out of it. You have to minimize your service errors for this to happen.
Kuname
appealing to the judge up there. Nothing doing.
That's right. I think one line judge signaled that the ball dropped in, but Thomas Blue says forget about it. So Russia now 2 points away on the ace from Morozova. Not indicative of the way it has gone for the Japanese. No one even moving for that ball. And they struggle just to get that in. Oh boy, everything now.
Well, total disarray now for the Japanese girls, trying to rally themselves, but there's so many spaces that they're leaving out there that Russians are even getting aces on the serve.
Morozova has really found his spot. So Onuki winning a little joust at the net with Russia. She'll serve. Japan really just wants to get on the board here. Free ball for the Japanese. Over for Kuname. She catches the line. So Japan with their first point of the set. And really, what are they trying to do? They're trying to play themselves back into it, looking forward to set two.
Yeah, as we see it again, caught the Russian blockers all guarding that right side there and able to squeeze it in between them. Not an easy feat.
That's Artemanova. Oh, she got a hold of that one. Launched a rocket.
Great lateral movement that time by Artemanova. She's able to squeeze herself over to the center there, get in between those blockers, catch the outer hand of that far right blocker.
Kuname goes past the Russian blocking easily. Now Russia, they concede a free ball. And the quick set. That's the first time we've seen Japan get the quick set and spike going.
Here we go, rotating the play over to the right side from the left, and there was only one blocker there, Menchova, easily going around her.
It was the captain, Asako Tajimi, who got that one, coming right back. Tichenko.
Yeah, Tichenko, another one of these unsung heroes on the Russian team. Very effective, though.
That's blocked, but it goes outside. So a couple of bench players.
With shades of the USA game in the initial pool where Russia played the USA and held them to 1 point in the first set.
Blocked, and out it goes. Menchova. She has fitted in very well in place of Elena Godina. And the quick set once again. So Japan going back to their forte.
Yeah, they're trying to catch, they're catching the Russian blockers over there on the right side, which does leave a little bit of space in the middle. Russian backcourt not filling in that time.
Reverse set. That was easily pushed through by Menchova. Even she knows that wasn't her best spike.
No. She caught the Japanese girls up in the air. Just lowered her sights on their bodies, hit right to them.
Quick set, and that drops on the Japanese side of the court, and that does it. Russia with a 15-1 demolition of the Japanese. So Russia continuing to storm through the World Volleyball Grand Prix, booking their spot in Kobe. Set
with a lot of these Russian players, as we said before, 4 of them play in the Japanese league. And I just think Russia's just playing on such a high plane right now, just a high level. And I think Japan basically knows this. And I think there is some truth to what you're saying. They know they're going to see him again, so maybe fill him out a little bit. They don't have Godina on the court. You know, try and find some sort of combination that works on the court against this powerful, powerful Russian team.
Again, we remind you, Asako Tajimi, the captain of the Japanese squad, not scheduled to start. She did come off the bench. A very poor first set, so perhaps rushing their captain back into action.
And that might not be such a good idea. You know, I think that you know, their coach Kazuha ought to just let some of these players that don't get a lot of game time, match experience, let them play today. play the best in the world. This will only bode better for them as the tournament progresses.
So Japan on the right side, they try and operate. Going back for Sasaki down the left, and that caught some Russian hands.
Yeah, that caught some hands, and it also caught the line there on the left-hand side, although they did appeal.
Oh, and now it goes Russia's way. So Thomas Blue saying, no, that ball went out cleanly. That block going outside, no mistake there. Ogake.
Ogake just pounding it into the hands of the Russians. Look at that. She knows the block is there, hoping for the lucky bounce, and she got it.
Gracheva going over for Menchova.
Menchova showing some grit here, taking Godina's place, doing basically the same things that she was doing, that Godina was doing from the same position. So they don't appear to lose a whole lot.
Menchova perfect on the attack, 6 for 6. She's converted everything thrown her way. Japan running into each other on the front line. And Japan really at a disadvantage with the confusion in their defensive alignment. You saw two players colliding.
Yeah, they're trying to run different offenses, trying something to confuse the Russians. Didn't work that time, only succeeded in confusing themselves. So we see one player run into the back of another, giving up the free ball.
So Russia continuing where they left off in the first set. We got the opening 2 points here of set 2. Reverse set over for Ogake. Diving save from Artemanova. That'll be Menchova. Not really able to get an attack going. And then Russia caught playing too close to the front court.
Yeah, that time you watched Japan back off the net. Here's a previous point to that, the little short set. Japan backing off the net and basically giving it to the Russians and going back to defend, hoping to work it up closer, which they did.
And the quick set and spike. Baktuk Tina, and you were wondering where she was in the first set. Now she makes her presence felt. Baktuk Tina plays in the Japan League, toils for NEC. Japan going to work. That's Omura who came off the bench.
Yeah,
so the substitutes stepping up for the Japanese.
Yeah, going around that block, going cross court and making a good decision while she was up in the air. That's a girl that does Omura that doesn't get a whole lot of playing time. Russia gets the touch on that. And again, number 7, Menchova.
So Russia now trying to get 3 weapons going. Godina on the bench, perhaps resting for the finals in Kobe. They've got Artemanova on the floor with the bench player Menchova. But if Russia can get that third option open in the form of Menchova, they are in great position heading into Kobe.
Going left to right that time, Sasaki, excuse me. You can see that. Good vision while she's up in the air going around those blocks, hitting cross court. Didn't like the toss on that one.
Now this is legal in volleyball. As long as the player does not touch the ball, she can set up once again. A ball. Desperately tried to save it from Kaneko Omura. Goes outside the court.
And again, Japan falling off that net, concentrate on just returning the serve, and then they'll set up from the backcourt to the front.
And the quick set, Tajimi.
That's first good thing we've seen Tajimi do since she came off the bench. Again, she has that slight injury. And Japan's starting to find little holes, little places where they can exploit.
And Gracheva finds a hole, turns it around on a dump shot. That's a play that the American Yoko Zetterlund.
It's like an overhand windmill sort of shot. Taking a lot of pace off of it, looking for spaces.
Big hit, but a bigger block. 3 Russian women were there.
Triple blocking that time by the Russians. Look at that. How are you going to get around that? Making contact was number 8, Artemanova that time. She'll get credited with the block.
And an ace. That now the 4th service ace of the day for the Russians. And you've got to blame that on Miki Sasaki. Tajimi, she can't really elevate with that right leg injured.
Getting the touch on that left-hand side, though. Ogake, that's her second successful kill. As we watch her go up, pounding right into the blockers. Maybe that is going to be her strategy.
She's working on Gracheva, number 12.
Got a foot fault there, I think. Side out Russia.
Swinging from around in the middle, it's Ogake. Very tight to the net. In fact, Japan will play it. They push it over. And going long, so make it now 5-0. Japan really struggling to put points on the board. Russia leads at 5-0 as we get the timeout. More from Gifu, Japan when we return. Stay with us here on ESPN. The attackers for this Russian squad, Menchova. Now she has supplanted Elena Godina, who is resting. Meanwhile, by contrast, Sasaki with 4 attacks, but points have been the problem for the Japanese thus far.
The Japanese not playing very good side-out volleyball at all. Once they do get the ball back, they'll either make a service error or do something wrong at the net or be out of position, easily giving Russia possession back in no time.
As you mentioned before, these Russian women very familiar with the Japanese style of volleyball. We have 4 Russian women who play in the Japan League. Morozova, who plays for Toyota, Bakhtuktina, and Elizaveta Tichenko play for NEC. Menchova plays for Japan Tobacco. Bakhtuktina actually attributes their play in the Japan League to their added resilience and the fact that they're not wilting in the heat anymore, and that resulted probably, or it was a contributing factor to their a big set comeback against the Cubans.
Well, certainly a lot warmer here than it would be anywhere in Russia. So yeah, she's probably right. It does take some adjusting to.
Russia continuing to cruise, now up 6-0. This is Gracheva serving. Short ball. Japan just not able to do anything on the reception of serve, and really that's where it all starts. You got to set up your offense from that point.
That's right. If you can't receive serve, you're not going anywhere. A lot of topspin putting on these serves by the Russian girls. They like to keep it deep. Fair bit of pace on it. As you see the block there at the net going out, Ogake getting the kill. Should be awarded a point for that. Here we go. Up. Medium type of a set. Trying to split the blockers, catches a hand, goes wide.
Gracheva pushes it over for Menchova on the left.
Getting a piece of blocker's hand there, the top part of her hand, pushing it out. A lot of these blockers will aim for that finger. If you can get to the top of the fingers and stay away from the mid-meat portion of the hand, you've got a good chance of going out.
One-handed bump set and the free concession now to the Russians. Bakhtuktina, but she is turned away at the door by the Japanese. Great blocking.
Well, that time the Russian girls too closely. Watch this. 1, 2, 3 girls in basically the same area. And catching part of the nose, it looked like that, Gracheva.
It almost looked like Morozova was preparing to dummy, and then she got the set, so she cocked her arm at the last moment. So another side out for the Japanese.
Russia trying to play a lot of things in the middle here. I think they're a lot better off by going to the wings. I'm sure they'll go right back to it. They're not successful soon.
Check that. Japan now on the board with 1 point. That was their entire point total in the first set. Menchova serves. Down the right side, Artemanova left it alone.
I think it was just wide. Omura trying to work that right side, trying to spread the Russian defense out just a little.
And the crowd here at the Memorial Center, deathly quiet. They're watching their home side get totally whitewashed by an awesome Russian lineup.
Well, Russia's putting on a clinic right now on power volleyball. It doesn't seem to matter who they put on the court as we get another substitute.
Teventina, number 18, 188 centimeters. Is our first look at her in the Grand Prix. Omura sends that very long. Bakhtuktina, you saw her pull her hands back.
Way long, way long. They're trying to go over the top again.
And now they're saying Bakhtuktina got the hand on it. Interesting call. Bakhtuktina shaking her head. She doesn't like it.
Maybe she gets her just reward there. As another service error by Japan. Number 14, Omura. A little bit erratic since she's been in.
And they are totally off their game today.
Russia returns the favor.
Japan, in addition to hosting the World Volleyball Grand Prix Finals in Kobe, they also play host to the 1998 World Championships. Those will be held in various cities across Japan. Japan is in as the host nation. Russia has to go through World Championship qualifying. That will be in Romania later this year. And when Nikolai Karpol was asked about his chances, he said, ask the Gypsies. Tajimi working a side out. Starting to get stronger off the bench, but ideally Tajimi should be resting with that injured right leg.
Well, and at the same time, though, they want to see her in action against Russia, because this is a team that they're going to come up against undoubtedly when they get to the finals.
Funame in for Kumi Kimura. And the Russian blocking, that was a solo effort from Artemanova, sending it back, and with Japan crowding the front court, no one there to take it from the back.
Huge spaces. All she has to do is make sure to concentrate on blocking the ball straight, and it's going to fall into space.
Svetlana Vasilyevskaya off the bench. Karpol now extending his bench, trying to work as many players as possible into the mix with a blowout on his hands.
That's probably a good idea. We saw this girl the other day, number 1, Vasilyevskaya.
Great blocking. Ooh, that was number 12, Ikumi Ogake. Well, she went up by herself.
Yeah, going to work a little bit on these subs at the Russians. Look at her trying to go over, split the blockers by going to the right. Didn't really fool anybody.
Good adjustment in midair from Ogake.
Linesman not making a call on that one. Very, very close. We'll see what the referee says.
I think that looked like it caught the line over on that left corner. So Russia serves on top 9-2. And a short ball. They are just picking holes in this Japanese defense. Now 10-2, Nobuchika Kazuya. Thankful for the technical timeout. We'll step away and return for more of set 2 action. Stay with us. Russia already has the 1-set lead over a decimated Japanese lineup. Russia has come into the confines of the Gifu Memorial Center and just taken apart a Japanese team that's been up and down really thus far in the Grand Prix. They had a good opening pool. They've struggled since.
Yeah, I think they had some false hopes there. They did beat Cuba in the opening pool, but since then it's been catch up all the time. They even had a hard time beating the very weak U.S. team. So if this is a trend that's going to continue or they're saving their best for last, we'll just have to wait and see.
Artemanova with the laser beam down the middle. Now Russia on top 11-2, 4 points away from assuming a commanding 2-set lead. The big set, and Russia, it looks like they were backing off on that one. Ikumi Ogake, the 21-year-old, she goes for NEC.
Yeah, a little fake, nice fake actually by Omura that time, allowing for Ogake to take up that space in the left side.
Ogake on that same NEC squad as the Russians. Back to Tina and Tachenko. Shot off the net. This still a live ball. Russia got it into play. Free one for the Japanese, and they find it over on the right side. Omura mixing herself in.
Well, now Omura's coming on as we watch this short set that she pounds, going against that moving blocker there right in the middle. And Japan's starting to come to life a little bit. Catching the line with that one, I think. No?
Look to have gone
just long.
Just long. So the side out back Russia's way. See Artemanova sneaking over to the right side, anticipating the spike. And she was in position, but she just didn't get her hands down quick enough.
Well, Mura again, she did it from the left side just a moment ago, showing her versatility, moving to the center, and scoring big.
Shot off the hand of Menchova. Japan able to block. That's probably the best sequence for the Japanese. First repelling The big hit from Menchova, and then transitioning to the offense.
And again, Amora with the same sort of mirror image play that she did last time, going around that blocker in the middle. So Japan finding some success in the middle with Omura.
Artemanova perhaps reaching a little too far for that one. So Japan, this a big improvement over set one.
Catching the top of the cord there, the Japanese server. So Russia will get the ball back. Russia's going to have to guard against a little bit of complacency here as Japan shuttles players in and out, and they do too.
That goes long off the hand of Miki Sasaki. She's really on the skids today.
Sasaki trying to go to the top that time without success. We're going to have a timeout here, probably by Russia.
That goes long, so Russia on top, 12-5. Russia and Japan, the first half of our doubleheader of WVGP action later on this afternoon. Cuba against the USA as we listen in. The calm, cool demeanor of Nikolai Karpol.
Well, giving it to Batutina right there.
And let's bear in mind, Russia winning the first set, and they lead 12-5 here. And you wonder what he'd have to say if they were on the wrong end of that count.
Well, sometimes I wonder how much of this is just bluster and the players know it, but they obviously give him all the attention he requires.
And as much fun as we like to have at the expense of Nikolai Karpol, this man really a legend among volleyball coaches, two-time FIVB Coach of the Year, 1989, 1991. He's been in charge of this Russian squad for a long time. Russia winning the gold medal at the 1998 Summer Olympics in Seoul. 1992, they took silver in Barcelona. 1996, somewhat of a disappointment where they finished 4th, losing a bronze medal match to Brazil.
Well, Amura, again, they're using her all over the court. This time she slides right and attempts the dink shot.
So set point now for the Russians. Short ball, and Japan just can't get a handle on the Russian serve. Russia all over them, 15-1, 15-5, only 6 points thus far for the Japanese. Set 3 when we return to Gifu. Reiner pleased to be part of ESPN's continuing coverage of the Women's World Volleyball Grand Prix 1997. Gifu, Japan has become blowout city. Russia on top of the Japanese, 15-1, 15-5, and they're still doing it without their best spiker, Elena Godina. Menchova has come in and done very well. Japan has struggled, really.
Yeah, they really have. You know, we look at the stats there with Omura taking over the leadership in the attacks, and Ogaki only 5 after 2 sets, albeit short sets. And Sasaki, that's about where you would expect to see her. But what we're seeing, and what surprises me, the problems that Japan is having with the Russian service games. Japan, traditionally known as a very excellent receivers of service, they haven't shown it today.
Russia really into double digits on the service aces. That's something you normally would not see very much of at this level of international volleyball. So Nobuchika Kazuha, he's got Naomi Ato back into the game. She's one of the better hitters. She likes to rotate from over in that middle spot. Perhaps they get her going on the wing, Chuck.
Yeah, they use her as a change of pace, and she, as you're right, she can rotate from left or right. She prefers the right, but she can hit from both sides, and she's a fairly good blocker, too.
Vasilyevskaya preparing to serve here in the 3rd set. There is the defensive alignment. You can see Japan, now they're awake for the reception of serve. Only have one woman up on the spike, Tajimi, saying someone got the hand on it, but no, says Thomas Blue of the United States.
Yeah, she'll give that up quick. Remember, last match, they received a yellow card, so not going to consternate too much.
Russia keeps it going. Good one-handed dig, but they do give the free ball to the Japanese. Tajimi on a bump, then she dummies. Shot taken by Egoshi. Flying from behind the attack line, Safronova, who came off the bench between sets 2 and 3, number 14.
Well, Natalia Safronova that time launches herself from behind the attack line and goes straight at the Japanese defense and gets net for her effort. Great block on the right there, Sean.
Led
like
by
Tajimi, huh?
That's right, who's become an inspirational leader.
We go, number 7, cocking that arm. Didn't fool anybody on the other side.
Just saw that stat. 9 blocks for Russia against Japan 6. But that really belies what's happening here on the court today. Statistics perhaps not really showing us what is really happening.
Well, sometimes statistics lie, and that's an excellent example of it. I remember in one match where Russia blew out the United States, it had the U.S. leading and attacking. Didn't say how successful they were when they did attack, though.
Missing on that attack, number 12, Ikumi Ogake. Naomi Eto, she's rejected. Then she sets over for teammate Tajimi. Now they've got Menchova. Great dig from Ogake in the middle. It's Eto. Bump set. Reversing. Oh, and they send it back for Tajimi. So good deception at the net from the Japanese. One of their better sequences.
That's the best I've seen them play today. That particular point, they sneaking Tajima over there from the middle position to the right and finding her. Great set.
And then Japan ruins it with a serve into the net.
Very poor side-out volleyball.
And that's the way it's gone for the Japanese. One good sequence, and then they kill it with a blown serve. A brutal spike into the net. Keiyo Hoshino with a ball that nearly went under the net.
But she was set up way too far away from behind the attack line. I guess she thought she was Godina.
They push it over for Ogake. And the Russians go to the touch, and that looked to fall on the line.
I think it did. I think they got a lucky break on that one. Almost looked like encroachment that time as we looked at Belikova.
But they're saying it went wide. That's interesting. From our vantage point, the ball looked good. So blocking it outside off the big hitting of Baktuktina. Now, you called her an unsung hero. Quietly effective. She only comes in when she's absolutely needed on the spike. Good role player.
That's right, she is, and she likes to control that middle. She likes to be a complement to the big hitters on the left and right wing, Godina and Artemanova. So they complement each other very well, these Russian girls.
Artemanova, who assisted on that last play, number 2 attacker, number 3 scorer in the Grand Prix thus far in the tournament. Safronova with a big shot. It was too difficult to judge whether that was going in or out. Yuka Egoshi was forced to play it, goes off her hands. One more look as we break away from Gifu, Japan. Russia still cruising. A very loose Russian squad. They've got some bench players now into the game with a 2-set lead over the Japanese. We see Safronova, number 14, and this really shows how deep the Russian squad is. They can bring Safronova, who's ice cold coming off the bench. She's already got 3 spikes.
Well, that's how relaxed and confident this Russian team is, and you know, these are young girls they're bringing here. Safronova, only 18 years old, stands at 1.88 meters. But yeah, they've got a variety of weapons. A lot of them, you know, we don't even get a chance to see them.
And the Japanese weapon, Naomi Eto from the right side. Look at her swing into position.
Finally using her with an excellent back set there in the middle by Tajimi. And that's what she'll do. They like to swing her over to these wings. That's the first time we've really seen that today.
Interesting that Nobuchika Kazuya has kept Eto on the bench as much as he had, given Japan's predicament today. Ogake over on the side, and she busts it through.
Yeah, that's the Ogake that we like to see. She's able to hit cross court as well as anybody. Dummy up there going up, and actually that was number 4, Hoshino, Keiyo Hoshino.
So Japan closing to within 2 here at 3-5. Touch shot. It's a much more energetic Japanese crew now. How about that? 3 points in a row for the Japanese.
Okay. Bring up the flag. I'll tell you, that's the first time we've seen that this year, this particular match.
The understated Chuck Schreiner. Safronova at the net. The ball drops at the feet of 2 Japanese blockers.
Japanese blockers set too far away from the net that time, able to slip that in.
Quick set. Russia able to handle it. Ball going off the net, slowed it down. Safronova now 4 for 6 on the spikes.
Well, a star is born, huh? Coming off the bench and doing the job, and doing it big time against Japan.
Goes over for Hoshino, a ball redirected by the Russian blocking.
Well, the block was there as you watch them both go up, going right around it, and catching Safronova flat-footed over there on the left side.
The bump goes back from behind the attack line, just missing wide. Menchova going for everything.
Russia not looking like they're playing as cohesively as they were the first 2 sets, which is understandable given the amount of substitutes that they put in the game.
Back it goes for Safronova down the side, and the Japanese team has tied it at 6-all, and that's a major accomplishment given their play in the first 2 sets.
They already have more points than they got in either of the first 2 sets.
Safronova rejected.
They're gauging her timing. They're gauging their timing. They're doing a good job of it, especially Yagoshi, number 6 there, getting a hand on. They're going to have to bring back in some more starters, I think.
And they get the steady setter, Tatiana Gracheva, back into it. Vasilyevskaya sits down, but she's had a good game. Serve misses. So Japan working the side out.
They leave Safronova in, however.
One-handed touch, nothing doing for Gracheva there. It's a Goshi at the net for Japan. Now 2 Japanese blockers go up, and they turn it away.
Now the timing getting better and better as this set wears on for the Japanese. In particular, number 6, she was invisible the first couple of games, but there you have it. Number 6, Goshi going up in tandem.
Touch shot. Oh, good dig to keep it going. I thought that point was over. Menchova, and she ends it with a rocket to the backcourt.
And she's done a good job this entire match, Menchova has. Number 7 coming in for Godina.
But a great run for Japan. 5-1 against Russia to get it to a 7-6 lead for the Japanese. And they work the side out again. Tajimi, right injured leg, but Tajimi has shown some stuff today.
Belikova not able to do anything with that ball that fell in, kind of fumbling for it, but couldn't find the handle.
Quick set, and Japan gets it back off the block. Tajimi bumps over for Hoshino. It stops there.
Well, good little series right there at the blocking at the net. Everything almost at the net right there as we see the first block, second block, excuse me, coming off the hand of number 18. That's Tabina Akina. She'll get credited with the kill.
Ado pushes it over for Onuki. Reverse set for Baktuk Tina. Ado blocks it, but it goes outside, so now all square at 7.
Russia trying to raise their game a little bit. They don't want to be on the court any longer than necessary. They'd like to wrap this up in 3. Service error, though.
And the serving from Russia has really fallen off the board here in the 3rd set. From the left side, another substitute, Anastasia Belikova. Only 18 years of age, so Karpol not scared to go to his young players. He's got a 2-set cushion to work with here in Gifu. Tajimi pushing it over for Hoshino, who goes down the left.
Getting that touch on that farthermost right blocker on that left-hand side, cutting off her right hand, falling into space.
Tajimi with a deep serve, misplayed from Belikova. Now she'll play a reverse bump for the free ball. Tight to the net, turning it around. Smart play from Minoko Onuki.
Very clever that time by Onuki. She sees that the set's not going to be there. There's no chance for her to set it up for the spike, so she does it herself. The backwards overhead set.
Kazuha, along with assistant coach Shigeru Matsui, liking what they see. Japan really battling with a Russian squad here in the 3rd set.
At that time, number 4, Batuk Tina making the service error. We're going to get a substitution again. Number 10 is going to come in, Kimura. So Japan doing a good job of rotating players in and out, giving them experience in here with a shout for this 3rd set.
2 service faults in a row for the Russian team. Over for Safronova. Big spike, but Japan was there. Down the left side, but blocked back in. Belikova perhaps trying to atone from her earlier error.
Yeah, Belikova that time, only the 18-year-old gets up there and tracking that ball as it left the hands, able to move the other hand, the right hand over to get that block.
That drops in, so another service ace for the Russians. Short ball this time, the quick set, and Safronova, she spotted it early.
Yeah, she's way on top of Agoshi that time. What a mismatch that was. About 10 or 12 centimeters difference in their height.
Over for Hoshino. Big shot. They got the hand on it, but the ball flying out the side.
Well, turkey shoot there for Hoshino. She had 3 different targets. There wasn't much of a blocking opposition put up there. She elected to go cross court to that right very successfully. Good play by Hoshino.
Japan pushing it back once again. This time, it's number 12, Ogake.
Ogake not the most consistent in this match, but here she goes. Oh, beautiful, splitting those blockers right into Russian blocking. Not what it was in the first 2 sets, because you could see the space between those two.
They've really got to get closer together, don't they?
Yeah. And I think that touched a hand there. I think that touched Tajimi's hand. I don't know why she went up for that one, Sean. Maybe they'll show it again. Leaping in the air to try and cut that one off. It was clearly on its way out.
Ball goes back for Ogake. And she is shut down by the setter, Gracheva. So a timeout called here. Reaching 10 points. Russia in a battle here in the 3rd set after winning the first 2 sets easily. More from the WVGP. Stay with us. 3rd set here. Japan has turned it around, and they are locked in a titanic battle here in the 3rd set after losing the first 2 sets easily. Russia perhaps getting a little too much reliant on the substitutions. So really a 1-point game here in the 3rd set.
Well, a little psychological game going on here on the part of Karpo. He's trying to make a point. I can put my subs in here against your first-line players and still scrape out and win. Remains to be seen. Japan has raised the level of their game. You watch that ball drop in space, the left-hand side.
Ogake working the side out for the Japanese. Turning it around, Russia forced to play off the net, rushing the spike. Tajimi into position. That's Ogake pushing it over for Menchova. Japanese blocking, fearless now at the net. Good heads-up play from the captain Tajimi. Russia couldn't quite keep it in, and that's one of the longer points we've seen in this match, finished off by number 12, Ogake. Good
perseverance here by the Japanese girl. She tries to go over the top, not quite high enough, but she is able to get the touch, falls wide.
And there's a point for the Japanese squad. Onuki, she'll get to serve again. She's really stepped it up here in the 3rd set. Japan again keeps it going. Tajimi playing an awkward shot. Menchova blocked. Oh, 12-10 now. Japan on top, and they've shut down Menchova completely on the left-hand side.
Japan's starting to get very aggressive at the net. You see how tight they are now as compared to the 1st and 2nd sets.
You got to wonder if Nikolai Karpol will go back to Artemanova and Gracheva. His big guns. Japan threatening now to steal the 3rd set.
Well, Karpov's going to want a chance to talk things over right here. It remains to be seen if he's going to do anything different as far as substitutions. And I suspect he's going to leave the same girls in. Let them get the game experience, win or lose. He's not a very happy camper right now. You can see. He's got their attention.
It'll be interesting to see what he does if he chooses to go back to the strong players. You can see Artemanova warming up in the background along with Morozova, who I don't think has played since the 1st set. Now, Nikolai Karpol would dearly love to get out of this one in 3 sets. He still has the finals in Kobe to think about, would like to rest his starters, but really he doesn't want to have this match go any longer than it has to.
No, and also there is a danger that if you do that, Japan starts getting some confidence. So they have not been playing well. It's no secret the last 2 or 3 matches, but this would be just what the doctor ordered. They could come in here and steal a set.
And how about this? Elena Godina off the bench. Right now, she is the top-ranked scorer and blocker in the Grand Prix. She was being rested, hoping she wouldn't have to come into this. Now, Japan helping Russia's effort there with the blown serve. But Russia down 10-13 here in the 3rd set.
Yeah, well, he wanted to give Godina the rest for the whole match. There's no doubt about that. So that's probably part of the reason why he's upset.
Little joust at the net and coming away with it, the savvy veteran, Asako Tajimi.
Great timing this time by Tajimi. Look at her go up, misdirect the ball, send it over to the left side against 2 girls much taller than her.
Morozova back into it. We'll probably get Artemanova back into the mix. Meanwhile, Naomi Eito comes in. So Nobuchika Kazuya going with the big lineup, looking for offense. The big shot rejected by the Japanese. Naomi Eito fresh off the bench. How about this for a set point?
Well, number 14 line up squaring up against a triple block. She should have sent it a little more misdirection than that. She hit right in the middle. Textbook blocking that time by Japan as they go up 3 again.
They couldn't stop the first attack today from Godina. So Karpol looking like he's going to bust out of his shirt. And a big spike. Now, you said it, Chuck. This Japanese team, they're getting more confident. Ogake taking a ball. Maybe she would have backed off of that in the first 2 sets.
And now she's being very aggressive. You can see her lean forward and just direct that ball over the top of the blocking.
A little more zip in the serve from Ogake. Diving save from Ogake, who is charged up here in the 3rd set. But Godina will serve on the Russian side out.
And we have another substitution in here. Out goes number 14, Safronova.
In comes Artemanova. So now Karpol has his big guns, and Karpol has a few choice words for Safronova. There's a point for the Russians.
Again, going to the bench, probably the Japanese this time. They're going to have to find something, or we're going to get a timeout.
Nobuchika Kazuya will try and settle down the Japanese, who are still in the driver's seat here in the 3rd set.
Oh, yeah, as we look at this serve by Godina. Nice twisting serve, lots of topspin on it. Completely befuddles number 6, Agoshi there.
And it was plays like that in the first 2 sets that contributed to the undoing of the Japanese. So Nikolai Karpol, who always seems one step away from imploding.
Well, actually what he's doing right here is he is testing his girls. You know, we're down by 3 points. Let's see how good we are. Let's see if we can come back against the Japanese team, the host team on their home court. Little gamesmanship going on with Karpol and his own team.
All right, now 11-14 with Godina serving. Over for Hoshino, and she finds the mark. Where was the Russian blocking on that?
Well, it was there. I just think Hoshino made a fantastic play there. She got up and she hits a very tough angle with Godina in her face.
3rd set point now. Opportunity for the Japanese. For Artemanova, a big shot. She's got just too much extension and height for this Japanese blocking.
Well, now they've got the bookends in there, as you said before, Sean. Godina to the right, Artemanova to the left, Bakatina in the middle.
Russia plays the short serve, so they set up on the block, and now they are within 2.
Just like that. Gracheva directing traffic here just a little bit. She'll be the setter, the designated setter for this particular attack. Nice deep serve by Russia.
Hoshino again on the left. Ooh, I don't think she should have played the dink shot. That's Godina from way behind the attack line. And you can see the step up in quality this Russian lineup takes on with Godina back in the mix.
Smart save that time by Menchova, number 7. Able to serve, set the ball back to Godina.
Hoshino blocked, but that drops outside. So Japan will get another shot at it. And you'd have to label this now an escape if Japan can pull it off.
Well, this is crucial for Japan. If they want the set, they know they're going to have to get it here. Very important point for them.
Artemanova, that's dug out and saved. It'll be Hoshino on the left. Once again, Ogake, so Tajimi sets up for Hoshino. Frantic play from the Japanese. Russia scrambles, but Japan takes the third set, 15-13, and all of a sudden we've got a match on our hands.
Yeah, Karpol left it a little bit too late. Waited till it was 14 to start making his replacements, and Japan's a proud team. They're going to come at you. So Russia's going to be stuck on the court for another set.
And that delights the crowd here in Gifu. Set 4 in a moment. That's the first half of our doubleheader here on our coverage of the World Volleyball Grand Prix, with a match that has taken on a very different look. Russia cruising in the first 2 sets over the Japanese, 15-1, 15-5. But then Japan held their ground. Chuck Schreiner came back, took it 15-13. Karpol a little late getting those substitutes off the court.
Yeah, he was a little bit overconfident. He thought that he could put whoever in, and they do have some good players on the bench, Russia. But you have to remember, you know, Japan is a world-class team. And to send in your second string against a team that is ranked in the top 10 in the world, you know, is a little bit presumptuous. So Japan made him pay, and we're going to go into the 4th set.
14-11 was the critical score when Karpol started to get his regulars back in. They did get 2 points, but Japan was able to rally and get that 15 points. So there you are. We are into the 4th set. And Kazuya, he's got to like the turnaround and the grit, really, that his Japanese team has shown.
And who knows, maybe this will lift him to new heights. They are a good team. They do play a more finesseful game, but they have hitters of their own. And they could get stoked in front of this home crowd.
Right after this match, we'll be coming back to Gifu with Cuba against the USA. Cuba, with a win over the Americans today, would qualify for the finals in Kobe. China, meanwhile, on the sidelines, hoping that Cuba will lose all of their matches, and that would allow China to sneak into the finals in Kobe.
Just before that, Artemanova right through triple blocking there by Japan.
This is Tajimi. Make it Ogake, rather, on the serve. A little touch shot from Gracheva. Japan now rallying. Godina, one woman blocking. Deep shot, but number 12, Ikumi Ogake, coming over to the left-hand side for Japan's first point of set 4.
Yeah, nibbling on that left-hand side there by Japan, trying about 2 or 3 times at the same place and finally getting the breakthrough.
Back they go again to Ogake. Back to Tina, sets up for Godina, but a ball that never got there for Godina. Instead, the set went over. So you see Godina now, she'll probably be in there for the duration.
Well, she doesn't look too happy about it, but there you go. She better pick her game up because Japan's here to play.
The reverse setting for Temenkina.
I think she missed with that. And they're going to take her out. Sticking number 9. That's Tachenko.
Tachenko coming back into it, 186 centimeters. So Temenkina ineffective on the spike. For Artemanova behind the attack line. And not a lot of mustard on the ball, but right down the middle.
Yeah, taking something off of it. And we saw number 6, Goshi, trying to time her dive, but did it a little bit too early.
Ogake goes up. The bump save. From behind the attack line, it's Onuki. Russia forced to play it off the net, and they send it outside. Sloppy play from both sides.
Yeah, both sides, and in particular Russia seemed to be a little bit flat now after the tremendous first 2 sets where they just came out calmly and dismantled this Japanese team.
Reverse set. Artemanova down the right. That's just too fast. Cuba, after losing in 5 sets, remarked about how quickly Russia sets up for the spike.
Yeah, and that's really saying something coming from Cuba, because Cuba known as a very, very quick team.
That goes long.
Just ushering that out of bounds. 2 Russian girls keeping an eye on it, keeping track of it.
Keio Hoshino committing the error. They stay on that left side. Hoshino crowding over. Russia had 3 women in position. Now it's Godina. Live ball here. Japan manages to get it over. And the miss hit from Russia finds its way through. You can see the two Russian women, Gracheva and Artemanova, colliding, but they got it off.
Yeah, they're still playing sloppy, not at the top of their game. Certainly that third set had to be a wake-up call.
Hoshino immediately blocked by number 2, Natalia Morozova, the 22-year-old.
Wow, as we watch this, Morozova, look at her like a rock there. Catching it just above the elbows.
And another service ace. Morozova with a shot right into the middle. And timeout is called. The technical timeout, so Karpol will talk it over with the Russian squad. We're into set 4 here. Back after this. Women's World Volleyball Grand Prix. We are live in Gifu, Japan. This match between Russia and Japan. Russia taking the opening 2 sets easily, 1 and 5. Japan rebound to take the third set in a squeaker, 15-13. Russia now rallying after Japan takes the early 3-1 lead. Russia goes on a 4-point tear, lead at 5-3 coming off the timeout. Down the left side, Japan goes back for Keo Hoshino. Now they pushed over for Elena Godina down the left. Japan has blocked Godina very well today.
At least in the third set.
Again they do it. Godina turned away, and you wonder how cold she is coming off the bench late in the set 3.
Well, she's telegraphing all of her moves, and not to take anything away from the Japanese blockers, but to look, when she goes up, the Japanese girls know exactly where she's going to be. Ito there to meet her.
From behind the attack line, that's Artemanova. Japan spread out perhaps too much, leaving the entire middle of the court open. Side out back Russia's way.
Well, that's what Russia tends to do. They're so powerful in so many different directions. They really don't allow you the space that you need.
And that was touched by a Russian off the hand of Naomi Ito.
Ito only 2 for 11, a pitiful 18% success rate on her attack, Sean.
Over for Hoshino. May want to get away from her. Russia seems to have her blanketed. They had Artemanova dummying and Godina from behind the attack line, and you saw her put up her hands in frustration. Japan has her figured out.
Yeah, she does. They do, but I think what's happening to Godina, she's just not up mentally for this contest. She was okay the first couple of sets, or yesterday. She was expecting to have the match off today. She didn't get it. Here she is back in stone cold on the court.
Back to Tina, rips one down the right side for a kill. Over for Hoshino, who hits the ball with impunity past 2 Russian blockers.
Russian blockers that time not setting up close enough to the net. They're not hugging it like they were the first couple of sets.
From tight to the net, Artemanova. You saw her back off after having a big run.
Intelligent play that time by Artemanova. Yeah, she set up way out of bounds behind the attack line, so the Japanese blockers tried to get up and time that, and then she dunks it over the top.
Again, beating the blocking. Now, this is one of the strengths of the Japanese team, how quickly they get off on the spike. They're very similar to Korea that way.
Yeah, they accelerate and they get up real quick, albeit not too high, but able to take it off the body and the arms of the Russian girls.
Twisting around, that was Gracheva, a dump shot. Artemanova bumps, Gracheva plays it, ooh, so tight to the net. Godina again rejected. Godina falling on hard times.
Well, here we look at it again. Godina setting up behind the attack line. Now, why didn't she go left that time? Center was covered, and she elects to go straight at it.
Artemanova goes down the left, showing Godina how it's done.
Well, the Russian girls, because that was very close. The Japanese girls did an excellent block that time. All they could do was watch and just hope that it drifted out, which it did.
Big spike serve from Artemanova. Japan handles that. And then they find the right line. It's Tajimi.
Well, like 2 heavyweight boxers now beating at each other. Japanese girls playing a lot taller than their stature.
Artemanova down the right. Able to find the holes much better Then Godina, the reverse set. You saw that Gracheva had Godina open, instead reverses for Artemanova. That goes long.
Missing by inches that time to Jimmy. She had the right idea. She went over the top, controlled the shot pretty well. Didn't miss by much.
Shot did not have a lot of velocity on it, but Ogake pushed it into the backcourt.
Ogake really stepping up this set and the last one. Look at her circle around right to left and find that opening.
Big spike serve. Oh, did that have some descent on it? And it's Japan who scrambles. 3 Japanese women sent diving.
Here we go, get a chance to see it again. As we can see right in between the blocking. Russia just staying around flat-footed after that. No movement really to get into position.
Quick set and just flailing on it. Back to Tina. Got the fingertips on it, and that threw off the timing of Gracheva. So another side out, and we're stalled at 5-all.
It's just a matter of who plays best side-out volleyball from here on out, I think.
Back to Tina, backs off. Great deception from Artemanova, disguising that shot. Japan was clearly thinking spike.
Yeah, all the way that time they were thinking spike, and that's twice in a row Artemanova has been able to pull that off.
8-0 rotates over, but Russia there to greet her, so Russia gets the point.
Japan having some success in circling players over, moving them laterally from right to left and vice versa.
Over they go for number 6. That's a Goshi. She's been quiet. Blocked, and it drops just low. Oh, now he reverses himself. He was ready to call that long. Instead, he calls it good, and I think he should have stuck with his first inclination.
Well, we'll see here in a minute. Well, we can't get a good angle with that. Yeah, very hard to tell from up here.
In my estimation, that is a poor call for a side out for Japan. It's back to Tina on the right. Over for Hoshino. She's taken over a lot of the spiking duties for Japan. Godina catches the line, and perhaps that'll break her out of the slump.
Well, let's hope so. Here we go. You see it? Boom. Pretty close. 40% from the attack line is Godina this game. She's only had 5 attempts.
She's usually up in the 80%, 90% category. Hoshino's shot is blocked, but they couldn't keep it inside. So Japan still very much in it here in set 4. That's Artemanova. Gracheva's set again was off. Artemanova, I think, got away with it, though.
Yeah, Artemanova saving that point, or saving that side out for Russia. It was a very poor set over the top of the net. He was lucky to get away with that.
Gracheva's got to push that ball back. And that hits the net, so another side out. Russia contributing to their own demise here in the 4th set. And the quick reverse, Tkachenko. And at times she has been very strong on the attack.
Yeah, that time Tkachenko moving over from the left wing position all the way over to the right side, hitting cross court.
Quick set.
Getting the touch.
That's right. Russia put the hand on it. So really, Tajimi, who didn't get everything on that ball. Back it goes one more time to Japan. Dug out by Gracheva. Back to Tina, plays the Prix ball.
Look for a short set here.
They got it, but Russia counters. They had Godina over on the left, but Artemanova rips one from behind the attack line. You can see now this Russian squad clearly favoring Artemanova on the kills. Yeah,
over Godina right now, as explained before, because Godina's a little bit cold. She doesn't look like she's into it too much, so they're going to go to the leader.
That's Ado, who sent a deep ball. Pushing up for Artemanova. The timing really off between the setter and Artemanova, and that catches the line. And look at that, 6 Russian women standing, waiting, hoping for that ball to go outside. This is a team in disarray.
Yeah, and if you're a coach, you hate to see that. You need to be going after every ball, play every ball. That's twice this set that they've done. They've watched it. They were lucky one time. The second time, they weren't.
continue to prosper by virtue of the fact that the Japanese serving is way, way off today. So still at 6-5. Now make it 7-5. Tajimi out of position to take the bump set.
There's going to be a timeout by Japan here.
That's right. Kazuha has seen the wind go out of the sails of this Japanese unit.
And it's not like Russia's playing just a whole lot better since they've had these starters and since the end of the last set. What is happening is, you're right, Sean, Japan is making them not doing very well with their serves at all. I think they've got 4 or 5 faults just in this set alone. And if you look at the attacks and the blocks, they're very, very close. Of course, Russia very far off. And look at the serving. Russia 13, Japan with 2 service breaks in this particular game. It's relating to the side-out information, taking advantage of 13 of the serves, whereas Japan only 2. So quite a gap in there.
But really, when you look at this Japanese squad in the 3rd set and here in set 4, I think they've really thrown a scare into this Russian squad, and that's got to augur well for the Japanese, who will most certainly meet Russia again in Kobe.
Well, coming off, of course, that very emotional game against Cuba, Russia, where it went 5 sets, they thought they would have an easier time of it than they had been. They thought maybe they could rest Godina.
But Godina on the right hits a bullet over cross court to the left side. That's Hoshino, turned away by Russia. They'll load up again with her. And the block falls just in. Bakhtuktina claps her hand. She knew that ball was going to drop good. So Russia with a little breathing space at 8-5.
Well, Hoshino that time trying to go the well once too often. She was headed off the first time and unwisely went back to the same place again. Similar circumstances and results.
Bakhtuktina over for Artemanova. That's a good set. And Artemanova drills a ball down, planting that on the court.
Oh, look at this. Boom. Right in between the blockers there. Only one Japanese girl's back acting as retriever, but there was no way she was going to get to that. So we get another substitution in here for Japan.
Kuname into the game. She goes right to work. That's dug out. It'll be Godina from way behind the attack line. Kuname down the left. That was touched by a Russian. It'll be a side out back to Japan.
Well, she'd already committed herself. The ball was well on its way out, but no way she could move her body once she had committed, as we see it again. And also catching a hand on the top blocker on the left there.
Bakhtuktina playing the free ball over for Japan. Godina keeps it going. Good dig. At least she's been hustling on defense with her spike not working. And then she is caught way out of position. Look at that. The whole back third of the court wide open for the Japanese.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to see it again. Look at that positioning. The blocking just splits up right at the front, allowing her the vision to the back court where she found the space.
Up for Hoshino. Now Artemanova on the left. The touch shot off the net. Japan had some time, but they were out of position.
Yeah, they didn't have anybody in the middle there. They had to rush Tajimi over there, and by the time she got there, the shot was on its descent, on its way down. There wasn't much she could do with it.
So this is Bakhtuktina from well behind the back line. That'll be Kuname blocked, but Russia couldn't keep it inside. And you see the frustration on the face of Natalia Morozova.
Well, if the block was up, she feels unlucky that she couldn't keep it in.
Artemanova, but again, they don't put the set into the perfect position. Gracheva now, that's better looking. But how about that? Japan absolutely putting the stop on Yevgenia Artemanova.
Well, great point that time for Japan. There's the block right there and just falling into space, but the save at the sidelines that time by Agoshi, fantastic.
Again, Artemanova on the left. So she makes the adjustment, turns her body slightly, and sends a ball way to the right.
Yeah, you're going to have to use those sharper angles right now because it looks like Japan's right on top of their straightforward hitting.
Gracheva on the reverse, over for Tachenko. I don't think she was expecting the ball set her way.
Yeah, I don't understand that hitting the angle that close like she did. She did have some space in the back court. Maybe take a little bit off of it. Try and hit for the back row.
Again, the reverse set. Now she and Tkachenko hook up.
Getting the touch on that side, on the left side of the Japanese net. 54% success rate by Tkachenko. Not a bad day's work.
Quick set. Morozova closes that off. Now it's Godina, and you can just hear from the way her hand hit the ball. She's not giving everything on it. Meanwhile, Japan hanging in here, down by 2. They get another side out. The much smaller Ogake out-dueling Godina.
Yeah, Ogake having a great last set here. That's about her 4th or 5th kill.
Japanese blocking. They continue to put it in play, but down the side. And I think that's a miss by Tkachenko. Yes,
just
it is.
Wide, just wide. So Japanese girls celebrating. They're up. They're sky high for this. Take it to a 5th set, and anything can happen.
The quick one, but Japan keeps it going again. That's 8-0. Look at the hustle on this Japanese defense. This will be Godina. Again, she can't do anything with it on the spike. 8-0, forced to play a free ball. Artemanova the bump. Gracheva goes over for Godina, who makes the Japanese pay.
Well, good hustle that time by the Japanese. They're scooting their blocking around a lot. Triple block there. Unfortunate for them because they've been following Godina very well, and Artemanova. Not the factors that they were in the first couple of sets. And I get the feeling that the timing just a little bit off in the Russian game.
Gracheva missing on the serve. It's going to be Tkachenko in the middle, but again, Japanese put the hand on it. Kuname firing over for Godina. Again, it'll be Kuname into the middle. Now Godina loads up. Japan continuing to dig these balls with unbelievable speed. Look how quickly now they get into position. Back over for Kuname down the left, and a miss. That was a good sequence for the Japanese up until that last hit.
Yeah, digging out everything in sight that time. The only thing wrong with that is that number 7 Unami missed, and it was close.
Tkachenko serves. Russia holding the slim 1-point lead. Bumped off. Japan plays a free ball. They go back for Tkachenko. Gracheva now really off here in this 4th set. Godina bumps, but it goes way out the side. Japan will have another chance to lock it up at 9.
Well, that's what you don't want to do, especially against these Asian teams who are drilled very well on returning a service, drilled very well on the bumping techniques, the digging, the saving aspect of the game. They're doing a masterful job right now on Russia in this set.
Artemanova turned away. Now it's Godina on the right. The touch shot. So if the spike's not there, Godina will take the dink.
And that's the first time that she's attempted this, that she's been trying to push it past the Japanese blockers before. She goes to the finesse to keep them honest.
4th set being fiercely contested now. That's a free ball. Russia scrambles. And the booming shot. You could hear that ball go off the hand of Artemanova. So Russia gets it to the technical timeout with the 10-8 lead. But Japan here continues to battle. A wire-to-wire 4th set. More from Gifu. Stay with us. But Japan continuing to battle. They've got a lot of energy, a lot of verve, and they've become fearless at the net, Chuck Schreiner.
They have good blocking, and particularly they're running everything down. Anything, the things that used to be kills before are now being run down by the Japanese girls, dug up in the air. They're being imaginative at the net. They're moving their people laterally from left to right. They're getting their blocking together, playing flawless volleyball.
And now is the time for a defensive stop with Russia up 10-8 and the serve, and they get it. Elena Godina, and her timing is way, way off.
Yeah, taking off from way behind the attack line that time. Not the best of sets, but she should have done more with it. And again, she takes it right into the blockers. Why she didn't go cross court, well, she knows probably, but we don't.
And now we'll see if Kumi Kimura off the bench can rally Japan for a couple of points to get this into a tie. Artemanova's ball is blocked. That's Kumame.
Again, trying that same shot. Kumame trying to go down that left sideline because there is a vacancy sign out there, as you can see, but cutting it a little bit too close.
On the timeout, Nobuchika Kazuya advising Japan, flood the middle and take away that shot in the middle. Force Russia to go out to the wings where they've been weak.
They have been weak today, which is very surprising, considering what they did to Korea with that same tactic, hitting the wings and just occasionally opening up the middle.
And now Russia gets a point, so back to a 3-point lead. Back to Tina, her second serve. That's Kuname down the left. It's dug out, but she couldn't keep it inside, so another side out. They're playing side out volleyball, but now they need to get points.
Now they got Kadena off sitting on the bench again, but Kunume finally makes it work for her on the third shot.
Artemanova, and that looked to just miss. Japan saying they didn't touch it, and Thomas Blue is shaking his head, so Japan gets a point, and I think Japan put a hand on it, quite frankly. Again, Artemanova will load. Same shot, different result. This time she gets through the blocking.
Yeah, blocking setup. They weren't as tight as they had been the previous points, the previous sides out. They were a little bit too far from the net. Artemanova able to stick it in.
But a tenacious Japanese team did get a point, and they are within hailing distance here, only down by 2. Big shot, the one-hand bump. Little scramble at the net on the part of Russia. Ogake down the left, and she gets it.
Got the touch on that backcourt play right there, as you can see here.
Line judge made the call immediately. Little spike serve dug out at the last moment. And then a great job from Tachenko going straight up and down. The quick set, and she nailed it.
She hung in the air for a little bit of time. That's shades of Michael Jordan there here in Japan.
That's Doug. Kimura goes up for Ogake, who gets it past an outstretched hand by Tachenko.
Well, Tachenko was there. The blocking is just straightforward for the Russians. What they need to do is maybe slant it a little bit, because the Japanese are not going straight at them like they were the first couple of sets. They are varying their angles, which makes it more difficult for the Russians to respond.
Gracheva on the reverse set. Japan put the hand on the block. Tachenko's ball has got some velocity on it. Gracheva going long.
Yeah.
So Russia unable really to pull away here. They've got the side outs against Japan, but they've been unable to make any points. Poor serve. You could tell as soon as that ball left the hand of Ogake, it was going into the net.
You know, Ogake is either hit or miss with that jump serve. She hasn't had a lot of success with it in this tournament as a whole.
Russia keeps it going. That's Safronova over on the left. They go over once again, and a big shot ripped. Check that, Natalia Chiguina. Our first look at her today. She just comes off the bench, so Safronova still sitting, probably in Karpol's doghouse. That's Kuname just inside the attack line, and a shot that goes way wide. So Russia now 2 quick points, and they're within 2 of closing out Japan.
Well, Kunami exclusively was going down that left. She tried to fool the Russians and hit it right that time, but way too hard.
They got a hand on the shot from Kuname again. It'll be Chiguina, but the block by Japan, too good. They get the side out. Now, however, they are down by 4.
4-point deficit is possible to make up, but here we're going to get a chance to see Gadina again. She enters the game, and number 15 goes out, Kajina. She did a good job, actually, when she was in there. She had a lot of lateral movement for her. She wasn't in very long, but she gets her baptism under fire.
For the right-hand side, it's Godina. So after a little fireside chat with Nikolai Karpol, Godina heats up, quickly getting the side out. So Russia on top, 13-9.
Probably a one-sided conversation.
There's Godina going long. No one from Japan touching it. You can see her. She looks despondent.
A little bit of out of sorts, Godina. Perhaps that Cuban match, that 5-set marathon, might have taken something out of her.
That's Artemanova on the left. A big shot, but Japan equal to the challenge. And then the quick one from Morozova. So they go long, they go short, mixing it up nicely at the net.
That's the Russian we know, is we're going to get another substitute. Number 14, Omura, is going to check back in.
Still a lot of vitality on this Japanese unit. Trying to prolong this. Perhaps get it to a 5th set, but they need points. They get a side out there.
Flat-footed back there in the back court, number 6, Godina.
So Kaneko Omura strikes pay dirt. Gracheva pushing it over for Artemanova down the left side. Japan, the digging has simply been spectacular, but that spike from Ogake left something to be desired.
Well, she needs to be closer to the net if she's going to attempt anything like that. It's always going to go long, trying to get over the blockers.
Low percentage shot. The miss hit from Artemanova. She first touched it on the block and then tried to bump it. Ball too far gone.
Heads up play by Omura that time for the dink over the outstretched arms of Artemanova.
But Japan desperately needs points. Russia is not going to make too many more mistakes. That's Tajimi. She's out-touched at the net. 2 swats at it from Tachenko. Again, Tajimi. And now, Tajimi's shot blocked by Russia, but they couldn't keep it in.
Well, she didn't give up. Tajimi stayed with it, and on the 3rd attempt, she's able to score.
The reverse set, but it's dug out again. Forcing Russia to play it. Oh, and then Japan with a defensive miscue. 3 women watch the ball drop in between them.
Well, actually, that was Ogaki's ball. It's much easier to run up on a ball than it is to run back on it. She was right in front of it, and she elected to let it fall.
Touches at the net again, led by Tachenko, and then sneaking a ball through, Kaneko Omura. And she's shown some craftiness at the net, has Omura.
I think she's been one of the best players for Japan, particularly these last couple sets when she's been given the chance to come in.
The touch shot, and then they go over to Tachenko.
Cutting down that angle that time was Tachenko, going right to left.
Agoshi comes off the bench for. That's interesting considering how well Omura has played. So Gracheva now will serve. Godina sets over for Tachenko. Check that back to Tina. So Russia now with a match point, and it was Godina who set it up.
Well, that's good. We'd like to see Godina. You know, all the good players, what they'll do is if one aspect of their game isn't working, they'll come in with something that is. And Godina showed just what a great player she is.
Dug out by Russia. Now they'll get a chance. Back to Tina. Gives up the free ball. It's Ogake. 3 Russian women, now 4 inside the attack line. Once again, Ogake, and she finds the hole.
Great rotation by the Japanese girls that time as they took their turns at the net. Ogake going from the right back position, coming up to the center left, pounding it home on the right side.
Ogake spike serve. Gracheva reverse sets. Tachenko working the quick side out. So the 2nd match point results now for the Russian squad.
They'll run another player in here. They're going to get some more height in here.
Tebenkina comes in to serve, supplanting the shorter Tachenko. Miss hit off the service reception. Kuname playing a ball from behind the attack line. The misdirection on the block, and Russia couldn't recover. So another side out for the Japanese. Very tenacious. They're still hanging in.
Well, Konami saving the game actually that time. The first touch that number 6 Agoshi got it was a bad one, so she's able to pull it out.
Free ball now for the Russians. Morozova dummies. It's back to Tina down the left with a miss.
A little bit long that time. Oh, they're pointing to a net violation, possibly, by the Japanese team. a little bit over anxious on that block. Russia will get the serve back.
And no point, so it stays at 14-10. And a little misdirection from Artemanova.
She hit the net.
Yes, Thomas Blue along with Chuck Schreiner on the call. So that will go back to Japan. Artemanova doesn't like it, but clearly she was on the net. The quick set. So a series of side outs resulting now. Ogaki digs that out over for Kuname at the net. Once again, Japan giving themselves another life.
This is going to do nothing but build the confidence of these Japanese girls. And I think you have to agree that their bench has just performed admirably. Every situation they've been asked to called on to do something about, they've done.
How about that? Turning away Artemanova emphatically. So the 11th point now for the Japanese. Remember, both these squads come into the match at 1-0 in the pool. $65,000 in prize money for the winner of the pool here in Gifu. Russia has already won 2 pools. Japan still looking for their first pool win. And a shot off the face of Artemanova Ogake, and Japan suddenly has closed to within 2.
Great angle turner that time by Ogaki, turning her body all the way, nearly 45-degree angle from the left to the right. Able to hit cross court. Well, I think we can safely say that Karpol is angry now.
Really, Russia has blown their chances. They've had a series of match points, and Artemanova getting the brunt of the criticism right now. And she knows that she had been playing poorly over the last 5 or 6 points. A couple of her spikes easily rejected. Elena Godina, she continues to look forlorn and lost here at the Memorial Center.
Yeah, they're not playing up to their capabilities. But, you know, you have to give credit to these Japanese girls. Everything that they've been put at them, they've been able to dig out, and that's got to be frustrating for Russia.
And let's not overplay it. Russia, of course, still has the match point, provided they get the side out. Kuname serves. Kracheva pushes it up for Artemanova, and she finds a little spot in the middle. So Russia, again, with a chance to close. So Karpol with some high expectations of this Russian team. Remember, they are still undefeated in the Grand Prix. Artemanova keeps that back in, and it'll be Godina on the touch, off the net, twice off the net. So another side out resulting. Godina completely discombobulated.
Yeah, she is, and I don't know what her thinking was that time. She flew out from behind the attack line, changed her mind in midair, and decided to dink.
The quick shot and rotating from inside Tebenkina. It's not very often Russia runs that play.
Yeah, not especially with her. She was able to split those blockers like an expert, though, I'll tell you.
Artemanova, the spike serve for the match point. Tight to the line. It's Ogake rejected, and Russia finishes off the Japanese in 4 sets, but it wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't, and you got to give it to the Japanese girls going down 2 sets. I'll tell you, they could have just as easily have been tied right now. Then you get into that 5th set, anything can happen.
But in 4 sets, Russia knocks off turn with the wrap right after this.